Good day, everyone. Happy hashtag Yaman Day to all of you. And I would have to apologize first because I know that this is something that you've been waiting on, right? So this is part three of our vlog series on the topic cold call. Let me show it again, okay? There, cold calling 101, how to make cold calls and sales, part three of three. So once again, I apologize because it took me this long before we could return for part three. I know that parts one and three were still back in May, if I'm not mistaken, or late May, right? But well, it's better late than never. And I hope that you guys still remember everything that we have talked about, how to cold call if it's your first time cold calling, or you have been doing cold calling for a long time, but since then you haven't had any significant results in doing it. But of course, before we continue with the last four tips on how to cold call, I'm going to remind you on the first tips, okay? So I'm going to walk you through each one again. And I have this cheat sheet over here because, of course, I have like 10 tips on how to make a cold call. And I don't really know them. Well, I know them by heart, but I've not really memorized them verbatim, okay? So just to remind you, if you would like to gain or experience results in cold calling random people that your business development or marketing has considered as qualified prospects or leads to sell your product or service to, okay, then you have to take heed of the following pieces of advice. Number one, cold calling is what you think of it. This simply means that if you would like to have results in cold calling, then you first have to believe that there's really a result in cold calling, right? If you are doing cold calling just because it's part of your job or your boss wants you to do it, or it's really one of your day-to-day deliverables, but you don't really believe in it, right? You don't really expect that you're going to get results out of it, then cold calling is not really going to work. A lot of people already consider cold calling as obsolete or very traditional, old school. But I beg to disagree, okay? Because nowadays, especially that there's an ongoing pandemic and we're all working from home, activities that are usually done face-to-face or in person are already discouraged, right? Because of our work from home arrangement, that our modes of communication left to do would be getting in touch with our coworkers or customers or clients over the phone, through email, through chatting, through texting via our mobile phones, and through digital platforms like video conferencing, meeting, like over Zoom, etc. Right? So because of the situation we're in, this hashtag new normal, then I believe that this is the best time to be doing cold calling. If it was already obsolete or traditional before, then nowadays it's become much more relevant, okay? So you want cold calling to work, then cold calling is what you think of it. So think of it as really working, then it's really gonna work, okay? Part two would be know and know more about your qualified candidate and leverage it, all right? So a cold caller who doesn't know, understand, and appreciate a prospect's psychology or mentality already loses the business even before he opens his mouth to utter a word, right? To say whatever your spiel is when you're cold calling, okay? So if you want cold calling to work, then before you give somebody a call, you already have to know who that person is, right? You had already profiled that person even before you get in touch with that person. So know, understand, and appreciate their psychology and mentality. You have to be empathetic in your communication. You have to put yourself in their shoes and know, okay, so I don't really know much about this person, but at least with whatever limited information I have with this person, I'm going to maximize it. I'm going to leverage it to ensure that this person gives me a chance to explain to him or her what our products or services are, okay? Part three would be know how your service would fit into your candidate's needs and expectations. When you are cold calling, it's not just about you delivering whatever your prepared spiel is, okay? Whatever your rehearsed spiel is. No, it's about understanding. This is how it goes, okay? If you want cold calling to work to your advantage, then you have to make surface whatever your prospects situational or work related or business related problems, challenges, obstacles, issues, questions are, okay? And then you pattern your responses from what the person should hear or listen to, and not just what you want to say, okay? If you do it that way, then cold calling is gonna work. All right. So once again, you have to make sure how you're offering, be it a product or a service or a solution, would fit into whatever their situation is at work or in their own business or somebody else's business for that matter. Okay. Part 4, have a goal and plan in mind. Okay, not a script. It's all about being conversational. So let's just analogize this. Okay, let's compare cold calling or the attempt of doing so. It's like a battle. You can't just go to any battle unprepared, right? You need to have a strategy or strategies. So you need to have a goal. Well, for me, speaking, okay, it's not just about having a goal in mind. It must be written. And when you already know what your goal is, it has to be backed up by how-tos or the objectives that it should go with, okay? So have a plan and objectives in mind. And the objectives themselves that you get from your goal are the very same parts or portions that would complete or form your conversational flow, your dialogue or script, all right? Once again, I'm not encouraging you to become scripted, but at least you know how to start, how to advance or build up from where you started, and how to finish it, okay? So have a goal and plan in mind. It's all about being conversational. So not because you have a set intro supporting our middle paragraph and then ending paragraph or wrap up that you're just gonna stick to it to the letter. No, you have to be conversational in such a way that whatever the customer responds with or the prospect responds with, you get along with it, right? You ride along with it. So never be scripted, okay? Part 5 would be the consultative and collaborative approach to offering help and guidance. So remember this, guys, that cold calling is actually needs-based. So we have to develop introductory spiels and questions and appropriate responses that unearth or unravel our prospects' personal and work problems, difficulties, and areas for improvement. Once again, so the effectiveness of cold calling lies in, are you calling me or getting in touch with me because you haven't offered answer to my question, my long unanswered question? Do you have an offered solution to my misery, to my problem? Do you have a fix for my issue? Do you have a provision for my requirement or need? Do you have an overcoming, all right, for my obstacle or challenge? If you have exactly what I need so that I could put an end to all of these miseries, then I want to listen to you. I want to listen more about what you have to say. I want to know more about your product or service, okay? So don't be a seller, be a consultant. Don't just make it a one-way communication, be it a collaborative conversation, okay? And that's the best approach to cold calling. Part 6, build rapport and establish connection. Remember that this prospect or lead you are calling, you're cold calling, okay? He or she doesn't know you, and you also don't know him or her on a personal level, right? So the challenge there is, because you're strangers to each other, how do you expect them to give you your chance, to believe in you, to even allow you to utter a single word, right? And how do you expect them to disclose their personal or even work or business life to you, right? So in order to do that, you have to strike up a good conversation. You have to make a small talk. You have to be able to build rapport however you want to do it. Once you are able to connect to the person, then the trust is going to be built, okay? And the person is going to let you do your job, all right? So build rapport. Okay, now we go to the last 4 tips on cold calling 101, and that's what I'm going to go through with you, okay? So let me go ahead and share screen my presentation here, okay? So hold on one second while I pull it up here. Share screen. Let's go ahead and look for that. Alrighty, where is it? Okay, here it is. So while waiting for me to pull up our PowerPoint presentation here, go ahead and grab something to write on. Okay, because this is wisdom. So you have to make sure that you note this down, okay? So cold calling 101, part 3 of 3. The past due continuation or end to our 3-part vlog series about how to make, let me show this to you, how to make cold calls in sales, prospecting, or qualifying. So our next step is this. So how do we cold call? Cold calling, or that limited conversation or opportunity you have with your prospect or lead over the phone, It's all about exchanging values with the client or the customer, and that's going to be your best proposition or offering. Okay, so what are you going to put to the table? What are you going to offer? What's in it for them? Why do they need to listen to you? Why do they need to give your product or service a chance? Right? So if you'll be able to highlight that this is I'm not just selling to you, I'm providing value not only to you, but to the department you work in, to the people you work with, and the company you work for. So once they can identify and appreciate that, oh yeah, you have value added with your product or service, then oh, what? Okay, fill me in. I want to listen to you. I want to know more about your product or service, and I'm gonna be your ally inside to endorse you and your product to my boss. See, that's where the effectiveness lies in. Okay, once again, so a lot of sales trainers or coaches would say that, right? So for me, this is already outdated when somebody tells you that don't just focus on the features and functionalities of your product or services. You have to highlight the benefits, right? Yeah, it's all about what's in it for them, right? How are they going to benefit from your offering, okay? But beyond that, nowadays, it's not just about the features and the functionality. It's not just about the benefits or the advantages. It's also about what value addition with regard to our bottom lines, our primary prioritized bottom lines would your product or service offering offer, okay? So if you would be able to exchange those values, that value addition with them, then cold calling is going to be results based, okay? Once again, exchange values with them, and that's going to be your best proposition, okay? The next would be don't be defensive, be offensive. One of the challenges of salespeople in general, not just in cold calling, would be how to respond to or how to handle objections, right? So it is very possible that as you are going through what you have to say when you are cold calling a prospect or a lead on your list, that they're gonna be like villains over the phone, at least within your conversation. They're gonna be villains. They're gonna highlight the weaknesses or the not so good aspects of your product or service, right? They're gonna try to go against whatever benefit or advantage you are emphasizing to them, okay? But when such situations arise, don't be defensive, right? Don't just, it's not just about protecting your company and its interests. It's not just about taking ownership of your product or service offering. It's also, remember that they're not just doing a prank on you, right? When they're objecting, it doesn't mean that they're just making it harsh for you or really hard for you. No, everything is valid unless you think otherwise, okay? So when they're objecting, so just rationalize, right? Just, if they have a question, answer it. If they have a concern, address it, right? If they have worries, try to negate the worries, okay? So that's what I mean by being offensive. You just have to have a good comeback. And if that comeback would be realized and appreciated and applied by your prospect or lead, then objections are going to be like a walk in the park, okay? So once again, don't be defensive, be offensive, even when they're presenting objections to you, even the hardest ones, that is, okay? The second to the last tip on how to make a cold call, cold calling 101, would be a cold caller is a recorder, right? We always say that unless you have photographic memory, okay, then it's okay not to write a single thing. It's okay not to document. It's okay not to note down whatever your prospect or lead is telling you, right? But a good cold caller multitasks between or among talking, or discussing, listening, and taking down notes. So as you are holding the phone in one hand, all right, the other hand, of course, is busy writing down notes, taking note of everything that your customer. Don't selectively listen. You have to capture and absorb everything, okay? So even if there's no first touch resolution, that you're not able to get the customer's buy-in or support on the first try, then you can always come back and have a follow-through, okay? So once again, a cold caller is a recorder. And when I say recorder, I don't mean to say record your conversation. Well, that's also one way of taking down notes. You record the call conversation, but of course, we have to ask for the permission first. But this recording I'm talking about is documenting, noting down, alrighty? Okay, so once again, I hope that you are all enjoying our vlog series about cold calling 101. Now, let's go to the last tip that I have for you guys. Be your own sales coach. So what I'm just trying to send across here is that, you know what, who we are now should always be a better version of who we were yesterday and what we could do yesterday. So even though I presented to you these several tips on how to make cold calling work to your advantage, there are actually much more to discover out there about cold calling. So go ahead and get help from Google. Go ahead and get help from other cold calling experts out there, right? So whatever works to your advantage, which will help widen or enrich your knowledge, skills, and application about cold calling, go ahead and do that, okay? Because we can be our worst enemy sometimes, but we can also be our best ally or buddy to success. So once again, improve, enhance, enrich, widen, be your own sales coach, and cold calling is gonna be a walk in the park, okay? So let me just stop sharing this real quick. So there you go, guys. So that ends our three-part series on cold calling 101, how to make cold calling work to your advantage in sales prospecting or qualifying. So go ahead and let me know if those work. If those don't work, then, well, we'll see. We'll see. Perhaps I can reach out to you guys and help you make those work to you, because I'm pretty sure those are really going to work. Okay? So if you have more questions about cold calling 101, just feel free to reach out to me. I'm almost everywhere online. Check out my Facebook, LinkedIn, and other social media accounts. And if you like this content and you believe that a lot of people in sales should know about this or watch this, then just refer me to my YouTube channel. Make sure that you've already subscribed to my YouTube channel, and make sure you hit that bell button so you get notified of when I'm going to upload next. Okay? So guys, that's it. Thank you so much. Once again, this is your buddy to success, your corporate entertainer and soft skills guru, Mentor Myron Sta, wishing you all the best in your career in sales. Thank you so much, and I look forward to the next upload. Bye.